fifth dimension. Aquarius I am. We in the Aquarius age for the next 2,000 years, you dig?
Swing low, time to move on. Light years in time, ahead of our time.
I want to free your mind by helping you understand the zodiac signs. That's right, you're live with Aquaman in the zodiac zone where the cosmos is your home. I'm your very own Anpu, the real urban guru, coming through on the mothership. So let's open up your cosmic memory bank and swing down to earth where the shit stain. Alright, what's happening, Minister Jew? What up, Lashana? What up, Dave? What's up, Heavenly Queen? Micah Haru, Mika, what's up? What's up? But hey man, you know we got to come back up on this whole thing again, man. The Prime Minister, keeps keeping me abreast. That we want to address this problem that's out here, and it's a psychosis. There's a severe problem that Kanye West is stirring up, and rightfully so. And it's so funny to me just observing it. Looking at, what we would call the Gemini frequency, who represents the duality of mind. So at what point are we going to study the signs of the God that is alive right now that we all say we believe in? And so here it is. We got Kanye West, who's the Gemini, the twin, the duality. You're not going to understand the Gemini anyway, because it's the duality of the mind. So now you think he was your man, and now you think he crazy. So what is this really all about and whatnot, man? So go ahead, Prime Minister. You're a little bit more abreast with the news than I am, man.
I don't need it, babe. I don't need it. Thank you. No, it's all good. So yeah, we back. Peace, family. What's happening? We gonna cover this thing. We got a few topics that we want to talk about tonight, but for the most part, Kanye West he's lighting a fire in the mainstream with a lot of his commentary as of late. A lot of people, obviously, some people are falling on one side of the ledger. Some people are falling on the other side of the ledger. And the funny thing about it all is his aim, at least of what appears to be his aim from what I am discerning from the information that I've been reading, is to create a new idea surrounding what we think to be opposition, send things in a different trajectory by jumping into the wave and seeing a new outcome come from it. And so, I said it earlier today, I've been real inspired, from a lot of his commentary lately. I've been posting quite a bit about it. And as I say, I always like to use these type of things as teaching tools. Some people consider them to be distractions, and in some cases, some of this stuff really do be really. But in a lot of cases as well, it's a lot of teaching tools that can be had from it in order to change the dynamic in the way that we think moving forward as humanity. And so I think we're just going to cover that tonight, looking at the duality of the mind and how we can make sense out of what's being portrayed in this situation. So really, my stance on it, DeBeer, is, here's a gentleman who he's done this before. I wrote an article about this, back in 2015, where he took the Confederate flag and he branded it on like his jackets, some of his clothing line apparel, right? Mm-hmm. And a lot of people saw that then and it was like, he's a sellout. What is he doing? He's taking a white supremacist symbol and he's rocking. Hey, I'm going to tell y'all something. I love when these type of situations happen because all it does is show the emotional temperament of the black community as a whole.
Speak on it.
These are what I call their litmus tests, right? To see just how acidic we still are going to choose to respond to what people use as triggers to see if you still in a place of inferiority, minority, all of these different type of words that are used to describe quote unquote black people in America. And every time it works like a charm. We completely lose it, right? And I'm not talking about the shooting situations with the police. I understand that, rightfully so. I'm talking about when people do the Dove commercial joint, with the Dove soap, or when they had the H&M joint, right, with the little boy on it with the phrase. These are triggers to see how deep the pain is still running. When Confederate flag, he said it. He said, I'm going to take this flag, in which most people think this, from it represents, right? I'm going to take this flag and I'm going to morph this thing. I'm going to create alchemy. I'm going to take the power away from it to show you that it's just a symbol and that symbols can have a plethora of meanings, right? It's, what it's called? It's called we can groove to in the summertime when our favorite artist comes out with the remix.
Right.
Right? It's the remix.
Right.
It's not the original, but we can come along and make it what we want it to be. So really what's happening here is we're fighting over knocking for mental space. Right? So, I'm in total agreement with it because it's only two situations that we got brewing from this thing. One is you're going to be on one side of the wave or the other side of the wave. And if we're really honest about it and we sit back and we look at it, this has been a notion or a stance that's been taking place for quite some time. One group on this side of the fence saying this ain't right, see it that way. The other group on the other side of the fence saying, hey, we don't agree with that. We don't see it that way. The only way that situations get resolved is called negotiation. Right, DeBeer?
Yes, sir.
These two sides have to amalgamate or merge, right? And then come out with a brand new idea, right? That's going to represent the fundamental principles of both sides that both sides can agree on to work with. So if you on one side saying, oh, what Tip say on the record is just some stuff you just don't align with, you don't go against, right?
Mm-hmm.
You really feel what he's saying, right? Because that's a genuine, right? But new thought is going to take new ideas to create brand new solutions. We've been doing the same for 40, 50 years. And that's why I wrote about it this morning about conditioning and old tradition. It's easier to go down that pathway of old tradition, to bitch and complain. It's easy to go down that pathway. We've been doing it forever. And it feels good because you can point the finger and say, ooh, look what somebody did to me, or they doing or gonna do. It feels good. You feel vindicated to be able to vent it because you got the freedom of speech so you can get it off your chest. Right? But then at the same time, is that all we're here to do? Somebody has to interject something new into the equation if we're going to get a new outcome. Right? So all the arguments going to be, we don't have to align with these people. We don't, listen, man. Sometimes these stances that have been around for 50, 60 years, it's just not plausible today.
Right.
We see people posting this stuff. The white man is going to die off the planet. Listen, y'all.
He ain't going nowhere.
Stop it.
Sun gonna burn him up.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Right. Create sunscreen and chemtrails.
That's right.
They doing nothing.
So stop it. That's not the answer. That's just more feel-good black power rhetoric to get people to buy into the same emotional current, which hasn't produced no tangible results for nobody, whether on a large scale or on a small scale for the people who they're teaching it to. He ain't going nowhere, y'all. Y'all can cut the bullshit out.
Yeah.
So we're going to have to find a plausible solution, right, that includes this entity in some form of fashion. Because see, when we get down to the brass tacks of it, when we just strip all of the feel-good talk away, it's only a couple options on the table.
Yeah, for real, for real.
It's only a couple options, DeBeer. You're going to separate.
Okay.
But that requires full separation.
Right.
Or you're going to be part and parcel on this planet and landmass with them. Right?
Okay.
Because you're not going to war with them.
You ain't going to kill them?
Hell no, these niggas. No, DeBeer.
They ain't gonna put this nigga on the boat and ship his ass up out of here. And send him back to the they're gonna send the white man back to the caves of Europe, brother.
No.
That's right. Niggas ain't doing shit.
No. We gonna have to know tonight. I'm speaking from a very physical sense.
Mm-hmm.
I want to be clear, a very physical sense of dialogue tonight. Because if I introduce the spiritual element to it, it's only going to be for the people that rock with us, because it's a waste of my time to try to participate. They're not going to have the slightest idea what the hell I'm talking about. So I'm not even going there. You know what I mean? But it's just the truth, DeBeer. We're going to have to figure out a way to create a new reality based upon the principles that. What did he say on the record? He said, I took America, I took Make America Great Again. I took it, rocked it, and gave it a different direction.
Right.
Now, it's neuroscience to this. It's listen, if Kanye get the neuroscience and the actual sciences down are rousing up in him, trouble. Because the science, the obstacles, we're just going to say obstacles. You cannot continue to use the same imagery and or dialogue to create a new outcome from a memory or a situation or a phobia that has been entrenched and conditioned in your consciousness. You have to tinker with the facts. This is a fact. You have to alter the facts. So when he puts the hat on and he says, I'm sending it into another direction, what he's attempting to do is alter the current. Because in quantum, you learn the only way for a wave to be canceled out is for a crest and a to. So all y'all on the good side, y'all on the crest side. Everybody bashing Donald Trump because he's on the low end, that's the troughs. Well, the only way that you're going to bring some type of interference pattern is for those two to merge.
Right.
It's just the truth, man.
Right. You know, the real issue that people are having with this dialogue of Kanye West has its roots in its origin in slavery. Let's just keep it 100%. And when you deal with this slave situation, and I keep telling y'all, we never had time to love, but the timeline is very simple in which we could really understand the scope of the evolution of humanity inside of the United States of America. I gave a webinar on this, and I think it's the absolutely most dopest shit that's out there. Let's give you 1600s with the slaves. Let's give you all the way up to 1865 Emancipation Proclamation. The only morons that will argue the fact, I don't even want to get into that possibility. It's a fact that there are thousands upon thousands of graves right now that have white folks in it that fought from the United States of America standpoint side, known as the Union, and abolitionists who played a vital role in getting niggas up out of slavery. Because the historical record does not show that black folks collectively was Nat Turner and had a slave rebellion and got free. That is not the historical record. Okay? You were escaping one by one following North Stars and shit. Okay? Which is a whole nother dialogue. So this whole shit got to do with science and stars, trust me, but we ain't gonna even get in that conversation tonight. So now 1865 comes, slavery is over. No states in the United States of America have it. But let's rewind time a little bit. The Union soldier told us, if you ain't hip to us, if you're onto us on another channel, Hip Hop Astrology TV on YouTube, Hip Hop Astrology TV on YouTube, check out the videos that's dealing with the astral science, and then go listen to the Union Soldier playlist. For real. Because the United States of America did not come into existence until it got her independence in 1776. The 13 colonies had slaves. The United States of America comes on record at 1776 saying, we are a newfound nation. We beat King George and them ass. We free. And this is our new shit. It's called America. Well, shit. And just 13 years later, 1789, there's a meeting called the Philadelphia Convention. Facts. Inside of that meeting, it's called America. They're having a conversation and they saying, listen, slavery is going to have to end in this newfound government. Now, the question we could interject at this point in time could be, why don't these Europeans who's running shit say, fuck it, we free, let's have slaves forever. Hip, hip, hooray to slaves forever and have a celebration. No, there was a conversation that said, listen, slaves is going to end in 20 years. There will be no exportation of slaves and there will be no importation of slaves in 20 years from now. South Carolina, Virginia, they pissed, they salty. They say, well, hold on. What you talking about? This is how we getting money off these niggas. So the conversation was so intense that they had to push the issue of slavery because the country is only like 13 years old at this point. So the issue was so thick, they had to push it back to the back burner. So they come up to the topic again, and it's so thick that these niggas down south was so greedy. They was like, listen, if we let these niggas go, they will outnumber us in politics. So we can't do that because then they'd be running shit. Then they said, but wait a minute, if we count them as 100% property, this new federal thing government called tax, you gonna tax me 100% on that shit. And that's not cool either. So then something came up called the 3/5 compromise. You would hear niggas tell the story in such an emotional way as if America came up with that shit to dehumanize niggas, and that's not the truth. That shit came up just to temporarily satisfy the South because America had just survived a war for her independence, wasn't ready to go into an immediate civil war at the time. This is the art of war. I keep saying it. Fuck Sun Tzu, put that shit down and study this shit on your soil. So the 3/5 shit come up. That would technically take you to 1809, right? So then an extension happens in the sense, did nothing change? Then 1861 comes, here come Abe Lincoln. And South Carolina is pissed at the advent of the election of a Republican. But see, wasn't nobody mad at Kanye, when Jay and Nas came and talking about black Republicans. Oh, they the gods and it's all good then, right? Nah. See, that spirit again showing you, because spirit always moves through musicians. Always. And the priests who really know what time it is. Because the shit that people's talking about, Minister Jew just told you, we've been showing you the science. We've been writing about the shit. So somewhat to a degree, people will start acting out the shit that a special group of people is projecting in the ether. Okay? So anyway, this whole thing is about black and white, but niggas is free. And now we go from 1865 to 100 years later. It's 1965. We're in the civil rights era. 3 years later, Martin Luther King is dead. My parents were born in the 50s. So I'm born in the 70s. So now we in that era now. So this is the post-King era. See, the problem is, ladies and gentlemen, is this. There was a group of white folks who was clearly against black folks, and they were called Confederates. Look at the state flag for Mississippi right now. The state flag still has the Confederate flag in the upper left-hand corner right now. It was just fucking 3 years ago that Bree Newsom in South Carolina scaled the pole and took the Confederate flag down at a state house. These states are in it. If you're a Confederate state flying that flag, you are an enemy combatant to Abraham Lincoln and what the United States represent. See, niggas can't see. Jew said, man, they can't see it. Niggas can't see that the red and the blue is the motherfucking blood and the crip, and the white ain't nothing but the motherfucking infamous peace treaty flag that's in between. You an amalgamation. You are what they call it, amalgamation of this shit. You in the gumbo pot. You in the greatest spot in America. See, this is the thing. Niggas don't want to leave, but yet are complaining. Now, if you're going to raise another flag, that's cool. If you're an enemy combatant to the United States, that's fine. You can do that. You can do whatever you want to do here. That's cool. But I'm going to rock on this side, and I'm going to force a white boy's hand that's going to take this flag from me and the people and say, y'all niggas ain't shit. The United States is us and fuck y'all niggas. That's how we rocking. Because, see, you know deep down that there is a truth that says I'm an American citizen, and for some reason, I won't pack my shit and go back to the motherland and build. I won't give up my citizenship. In fact, when we look deeper, you keep on building businesses and different brands and keep on getting more money and building your little organic farms and shit. You won't leave. You keep participating in the enterprise. Why? Because deep down, you are connected to the soil. But you don't want to admit that shit, though. You want to be black power. It's a motherfucking lie, black power. It's a lie. You a lie. Because you can just look at the measurement of saying, listen, I'm going to say this. Before you go fucking with Kanye, go fix the goddamn water in Flint, nigga. Go do that shit collectively. Everybody got something to say. But ain't nobody want to talk about that. But when cops do something, and see, here's the problem. The Confederates were never killed in the sense of all of them were dead. When the United States government took over from the Civil War aspect, the United States is so fucking merciful that it allowed them local clan boys to still run their municipal governments, city, county, states, and then some of them start getting into the federal level. But as a whole, the federal politic itself is the United States of America. What happens is you still have laws and you still have people who are, we call them Confederates masquerading as good old Union boys, United States citizens, okay, that are inside of this thing because we didn't totally annihilate these motherfuckers. We didn't lock them up and push them somewhere else and never let them. We allowed them to still run government. So you see enemy combatant states like Mississippi. I got a problem with that because I know you can't fly that flag in the time of the early 1861. You can't do that. We'll ride on you. The Union soldiers will. So we gotta see this thing for what it's worth. Either you part of the Union or you part of the Confederate. And anybody that's inside the United States to say that this flag that I got on my head right now ain't ours, use a motherfucking lie. Declare yourself for the public record then, Mr. White Man. Because last I checked, this was the flag that came and got niggas free. And see, the Charlemagne the gods of the world, the who's like, and I keep tagging them like, you know, look around him. Like one of his podcasts, his most popular podcast is what? The Brilliant Idiots. Andrew Schultz, Jewish. Shout out to Schultz, Union soldier. Joe Budden podcast. You know, I don't want to stereotype, but Rory ain't African American. Helping Joe build the brand. Union soldier, abolitionist. Jesse Williams, he called himself an abolitionist. You cannot erase the contribution of which certain group of white people, abolitionists and Union soldiers, have had inside of the contribution of niggas getting free. It is an utter lie, it's disrespectful. And if you can't admit that, it's because you have become so indoctrinated with hate, you're a liar, as DJ Khaled would say. Okay? So that's the real litmus test to see. So this issue of black and white ain't hard because now we in this reality right now. But since niggas won't leave, what's your addiction? Your addiction is what Minister Jew was talking about earlier. See, you got to have a mental hang up because you got to really look at this shit. America's crooked, wicked. And the thing is, we was talking about this earlier. Since you won't do nothing about it, what you really mad at is you're mad because there's not another Abe Lincoln, another JFK who pressed the button and said, "Now we're going to clean house in here." What you mean, JFK? Well, Alabama was the last state to desegregate their schools. And Governor George Wallace went and let Vivian Malone and James Hood into the Alabama University. So there was a standoff. So John F. Kennedy gave the order to his brother, little Bobby Robert, to call in the National Guard and tell the National Guard General Henry Graham to tell George Wallace to get his ass out the way, because this is a federal mandate that all schools will be desegregated. And this segregation, black and white shit is going to end today. And if y'all little county, state, and city boys called the police and state troopers want to get in this shit, no problem, because the National Guard is here and we're going to bust your ass. Have it your way. John F. Kennedy did that shit on the record. Okay? So what is the force that is giving these so-called wicked crackers the idea to fight on your behalf to better you? So niggas today are still acting like they want a pacifier, some type of binky from the white man or somebody in government that's going to come and say, "Oh, okay, we're going to give you all Detroit. We're going to all give you this. We're going to keep on." Like, when do you take responsibility for you? And United States of America, because you're not 100% clean. When do you start looking in-house and recognize states like Mississippi cannot fly the Confederate flag because they are declaring themselves as an enemy combatant to the United States of America? That's the goddamn dialogue that we need to have. This ain't hard. This ain't hard at all. The problem is you don't have no balls as a collective. That's the problem. And we segregated in our little sectarian schools of fucking thought. But the school of thought that we're talking about, I promise you, it encompasses everything that deals with the humanity of reality right here in the United States. Because one thing's for certain, good white folks, and there is some. Don't tell me there ain't no goddamn good white folks when abolitionists and people who died for your cause has helped you. And at the same time, your black ass is killing Malcolm. The same time, your black ass is setting up Fred Hampton. The same time, your black ass is doing everything that goes against your so-called liberation. You can't judge this thing by color, man. You got to judge it by the hearts of men and the actions of men.
That's right. That's right.
Go ahead, bro.
Hey, man, we could really end the show now. Shit.
Union soldier all day.
That's what it is. You know what I mean? So, you know, man, again, we looking for, this is what trips me out, though. Peace, God. Right?
Right.
We gods, though. Right? And in one breath, it's we don't need the white man. And in the next breath is, but we owed reparations. Listen, the problem is this. Slavery was terrible. Nobody's negating that fact. It was terrible. All of the heinous acts committed were terrible and inhumane. But the deal is this. We're removed from it. At least physically removed from it. Right? And mentally, we keep reliving it and keep replaying it because we want somebody to apologize. Not going to happen. Not that way. Not going the traditional way. It ain't. So really, the issue at hand is we need to clean up our own trauma. We got to clean up our own trauma. It's not enough psychology being talked about. Learn how to refresh, right? Clear out the cookies and get clear on what we envision for the future. That's it. Because every time you go back in that past, like what Tip say on the record, you just want us to forget about genocide and slavery, right? That's what he told Ye, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes. That's what I want you to do. Yeah. In a constructive way. In a way that where you're not, the trauma from it no longer exists. And if you do bring up the subject matter, right, it's because you're having a healthy dialogue about it. Not because you're taken over by it. And that's responsibility to do. We've been asking and begging for a long time. So when Kanye talks about Candace and she says, look, we can't keep going down that pathway because your memory affects how you act in the future.
Oh,
so if all you continue...
Say it again, man.
Your memory affects how you act in the future.
Mm-hmm.
So that means If you're constantly reliving the past, you're constantly reinforcing that neural connection. That firing pattern is alive and well. You're only going to get more of the same.
Right.
This becomes a very difficult thing to explain to the common folk. Because they, like Kanye said, I know everybody emotional. Right? So they haven't learned how they're made. And I say this all the time. So it's just a continuous cycle over and over and over again because nobody's interjected a new thought or a new idea. So you lost. You're going to continue to lose. Because trust me, y'all, that's a losing narrative. That's a losing narrative. It's a defensive losing narrative. But I get it because it plays to the emotional disposition of the people who are following, the people who are listening, the people who are contributing. But I'm going to tell y'all something. After this summer, oh boy, it's going to be a lot of trouble around here at the beer. I'm in a lot of trouble, man.
Yeah.
I'm in a lot of trouble.
Got to set the record straight, man.
Got to set the record all the way straight. All the way straight. And listen, anybody new to this message, we just not, listen, the priesthood, Minister Jew, no Anpu, we just not talking out the side of our necks.
No.
So if I say something tangible, you better believe that Minister Jew and Noble Anpu is producing something tangible for people to be able to use. Yeah. And so some people might think that we braggadocious. But no, we have to continuously reiterate so that people can make a distinction when they run into these other suckers who are just spewing rhetoric to tap your emotional vein, but they ain't producing nothing. And you mistaken activity for production just because they active.
Yeah.
Don't mean they productive. So 6 years, almost 400 bills paid. Stamped the priesthood. Right? Investment properties with the people's money.
Yeah.
With the people's money, where they're getting a return on their investment.
Loan. Yeah. Yeah. Real talk. Real talk.
All facts.
Yeah.
Donations of all sorts.
Yeah.
Helping other people in the black community get their business together. Investing in small black businesses.
Yeah.
So we ain't just around here talking.
Nah, we put our money up, man. Put your money up. I'll tell you that quick.
Just talking. Talking about what everybody else ain't doing and arguing about, dead folks. No. We in the now. Yeah. And we are looking at our condition in the now and augmenting our narrative to match the conditions of the now and envisioning our future so that we can secure our legacy and the people who rock with us.
Yeah.
I'm tell you rock with the priesthood, you're going to win. That's just the bottom line. You're going to win in some shape, form, or fashion. You're going to win. So I'm Team Kanye, man. I'm rocking with the boy. Chi-Town's finest, That's what it is, Noble, man. And Daz Dillinger, bogus.
Oh, my nigga Daz. Hey, nah, ain't my nigga. I'm gonna give my nigga Daz a pass, man.
Nigga
Daz, what up? Man, yeah, that was, man. See, that's that trigger. You know what I'm saying? And it's a trigger. It's a trigger. You know what I mean? And the best I could say is, when we put things scale for scale, pound for pound, man, real talk, when you really want to get into the record of what we do, man, it's a fact. People that know us that's here, like I see Heavenly Queen in the chat, like they'll tell you that, there was a time where we was writing the events that you were going to see in this reality and tell you the day precisely that it was going to happen on. And we sized up, the Queen, Michelle Obama. And truth be told, we put a protective prayer bubble around her because we were looking at some planetary alignments in the sky. Now, that may be over your head because planets appear to be over your head, but you got to understand that you live in a place, especially in America, Washington, D.C., where it got this big old thing called a Washington Monument, known as a Tekken, known as an obelisk that's 555 feet tall and it's pointing to these stars, you dig? And it's a fact that Benjamin Banneker came and laid out the federal triangle, Washington, D.C., up to match these three particular stars. So this is a fact. This is a celestial science all day. So ancient man has always been in tune with the rhythms of nature and the rhythm of the cosmos. And I was looking at a particular alignment that was happening in the heavens, man, and it wasn't nice. It had all the markings of, oh, okay, somebody gonna get popped. And being coming from the conspiracy school of thought, you got to evolve at some point. You can't get stuck there. You don't even got to go there now, but don't be stuck there if you ever went there. And we understood the future climate that was coming in 57 days. Something was going to happen. And I kid you not, on the 57th day was the day that a story broke in DC, how a white cop was talking to another cop of how he would do something to Michelle Obama. Now, you got to look at the spirit of the creator here, because if we live in this conspiracy world, how did that story make it all the way out to the world to hear it? Why didn't his white cohort or, Cody, in a sense, like, yeah, we could do that? Why somebody had to go rat on somebody, and they didn't keep it in house. And the sergeant didn't say, you stupid fuck, go sit down somewhere. I'm gonna put you on desk duty. The story made itself all the way out to the news and all the way out to, obviously, to the public. And this is on the record. You can go back and look at this. It was a white cop that talked about what he would do to Michelle Obama. And I said, looky here, we caught us one, because we understood a certain climate that was coming. Let me tell you something. When it comes to the Abe Lincoln assassinations and it comes to shit like that, the shit that the Martin Luther King's, the shit to stop the world, to make the world stop and mourn, them shits is on a certain rhythm. Believe that. It's on a certain clock. And we understand that particular clock. All right. So anyway, man, saying that to say, I know that shit over your head like a meteor shower, as I like to say and shit. But we just got to do better. You know what I mean? And if we ain't given the orders to combat what we flat out see as an injustice, whether it be the choking of Eric Gardner, whether it be the Mike Brown situation or the little
Sandra Bland.
If we ain't given the orders out to go seek justice and do that, then it's no way in hell that we can say, yo, Kanye, since I disagree with you, I gotta do something to you, because you gotta look at this. Kanye is prefacing this whole thing
with love.
So somebody saying, yo, nah, man, I just want to turn a new page and I just want to do it with love. And you so mad at what he's saying, like you look like a barbarian. You crazy simply because you don't identify what the man is thinking and what he's saying, and you can't do that. You just can't. You can do whatever you want to do, but you can't do that. You shouldn't do that. You know what I'm saying? But this conversation is a trigger point, and I got to give it to my OG, the first Black attorney general ever in history, Eric Holder, who said, America is a nation of cowards when it comes to race relations.
That's right.
You know what I'm saying? And how we going to talk about this? And this is why I like bringing in the Jesse Williams, who says he's an abolitionist, the Rorys who's rolling with Joe Button, and who you call European or Jewish or anybody outside of African American that's rolling with popular celebrities today, because the truth of the matter is they could never, as of right now, I've never seen them grab the mic and really talk the truth and talk about the abolitionists and the white people's contribution in this shit, because niggas is so sensitive that white people have no right to weigh in on it, in a sense. And that's totally bogus, because if it were not for those people, we wouldn't be in this situation right now called freedom. So they actually should be the first person to talk about it for real, to keep it all the way funky. In fact, if white people want to come and say, you know what, y'all niggas shut the fuck up because we got y'all free and we gonna deal with this shit. Because it's kind of like what we waiting for, in a sense. We kind of still waiting for this savior thing to appear. They very well could do so. And I had this question, man. I'm like, two things to think about, right? One is, what if white folks was like, you know what, I'm suing black people for reparations because a lot of people died and you motherfuckers ain't did shit, in the sense of you just it's fucked up. We lost a lot of people behind this shit. I ain't talking about Confederates. I'm talking about Union folks and whatnot. Like, what if you think you need reparations? How the hell you need reparations when it's a fact that 13 colonies had you, and then the motherfucking Confederate States of the South separated and decided to have you as a slave? The United States went to war. The United States didn't have you. They freed you. The United States don't owe you shit, Jack. I'm going to defend that. The United States don't owe you shit, but the United States do need to clean up the in-house shit because it's Confederate behavior. There are, and see, this is what I'm saying. When you look at the improper justice, the sentencing laws, by the way, Eric Holder returned, erased all that shit. You know what I'm saying? The just the stupid RICO shit that was hitting niggas off the street and shit. But when you see the injustice of Meek Mill that just come home, that was a black lady doing that shit. You feel me? So you can't get on this color shit. But my point is, we have to clean up house everywhere. And you got to identify what the behavior is. And it's real simple. I ain't falling for the Tea Party, Democrat, Republic. I ain't falling for that shit. Let's call it for what it is. It's post-Lincoln, Confederate or Union. I just need to know that. Because when I travel down south, I see what I see. Certain white people still flying their Dixie flag up in the backwoods. You know what I'm saying? I see what I see. I know what it is. And then some people white folks got the American flag up too. So I know what it is. You see what I'm saying? And we ain't got to play no other games and disguise it in nothing else and whatnot, man. But you got to learn how to read spirit. You know what I mean? And again, actions speak louder than words. You know what I mean? And learn how to observe, man, without getting in the rut of wanting to, if I want to do something to somebody, my outlet, again, the Union soldier is, I want to do something to anybody that's rocking that Confederate ideology. If it's going to be like that, you know what I mean? But far as somebody that look like me and all that stuff, man, get out of here, man. You know what I mean?
And the key is paying attention to detail. See, a lot of times these situations take place and people really not following the story, and they're seeing certain headlines. And so because they haven't totally not adapted, but totally invigorated themselves inside of what's going on in the dialogue, they're missing key components of what's been said in the back and forth, right?
Mm-hmm.
So how could Kanye say, he said it, I don't totally agree with everything that Trump does. He said that already.
Right.
Like, so if you understand that and you hear that, then the next logical question that you ask yourself, okay, well, what is he really doing here?
Right.
Like, okay, let me try to understand. Okay, what is he really saying here? You know what I mean? If he knows that some of this shit Trump has said and done in the past is not necessarily kosher, it ain't looking like, it's all the way right. But at the same time, it's like he's willing to go into this den and say, you know what? How can we unify this situation?
Right.
How can I go in here and divert a message and get it to go a different route. And then 2 days later says it's time for the psychologists, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the philosophers.
Yeah.
Right? And people who understand social behavior. It's time for those people to begin to speak. And that's the truth.
Yeah. Niggas got post-traumatic slave disorder. Like
exactly.
Dr. Joyce Deleary, like, I know she changed her last name because she got married. But that's some real shit. Niggas got post-traumatic slave syndrome and disorder.
That's right.
And, you know, and unfortunately, what happens in the United States of America, the Mike Browns and those kind of situations reinforce the civil rights and reinforce that slave shit and reinforce that whole paradigm. And since you can't see past that particular veil and you get stuck in that experience of trauma, you blame the United States, and rightfully so, because things like that should not happen in the United States of America. And there should be a more expedited penalty off rip, irregardless to, you know, right is right and wrong is wrong. You know what I mean? But we got to get past that particular aspect because we babies. I keep saying it. The evolution of humanity is babies. You just now at cell phone. We still getting choppy video right now every so forth. You know, you just now at TV. You just now at automobile. You was typewriter. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're a baby. You're just now getting to the place where you like whole foods and you're thinking about green earth and learning about yourself. You don't even know chakras yet, you know, and the energy centers in the body yet, and what the planetary energies mean. You didn't even got to that point yet. You dig? So humanity is really babies in the evolution, but yet we're so great in our potential. And we have produced so much greatness, hence the greatness that when was America ever great? It's great right now. And that's why you don't want to leave, because if it wasn't great, then why do you stay? Because if you stay in to make it better, then shut up, because somebody's telling you to make it great and you saying it's not great, but you're going to make it better so it can be great. Then you're saying the same damn thing. That person is speaking in the future tense, and then you're working in the present tense if you're still here. You see what I'm saying? So listen. Stop being, I got to take this from my man, Grant Cardone. Stop being a little bitch. For real, man. Like, that's why I fuck with Grant. He just keep it. Stop being a little bitch, man. Are you complaining or are you fixing this shit? What are you doing, man? You complaining or are you fixing it? You know what I'm saying? And that's why the priesthood, we don't get into that complain shit. We come and give you perspective of what's happening. And most importantly, what you got to understand, I'm done with it with this, man, is that second thing, two things that remind me to thought in the Bible. So the Bible aspect of, I had this question, and I'm like, man, because the Bible speaks of people getting punished right now for a future event that's going to occur. So the current day punishment that you get ain't got nothing to do from what you did in the past. You getting punished right now for some shit that you gonna do.
Now,
right?
Hold on, Noble. Hold on.
Right?
Hold on. You have to preface that so that people don't think you crazy.
Go ahead.
Right? This is why the Gemini is here. Remember, we talking consciousness. There have been studies that show, what do they call it? Retroactive prayer.
Ooh-wee. Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir. Doctor, if you go to Wiki right now and type in retroactive prayer, the coldest story ever to me, ever dealing with the mind in this aspect, is that ties with Minister Jew's positron, because the retroactive prayer by Dr. Leonard Leo Bavishi. Go type this shit in right now. Open up another window. Type this shit in. This is serious shit. There was a group of patients who were a little over 3,000 patients who were in the hospital from a period for 10 years, from maybe 85 to 95. It was a 10-year period. And within this 10-year period, there was going to be a certain group of them that were going to get prayed for. Okay. And the ones who got prayed for were judged, and people who didn't get prayed for was separated in categories. How fast, how fast they came home, how long their sickness was, and how many died versus who didn't die. And the people who got prayed for came home faster, broke their sickness faster, and the mortality rate was slightly higher. Or I'm sorry, slightly lower in this sense. Okay. So the people who got prayed for literally recovered faster. But here's the key, ladies and gentlemen. Those people did not get prayed for until an average of, 4 to 10 years later in the future.
That's right.
It's as if some type of intelligence, God, knew
that they were going to get prayed for.
Going to get prayed for. And science backs this shit up. That's why I tweeted Kanye. I said, yay, these niggas is babies. They don't understand. Quantum physics been proved this shit. It's called the double slit experiment. Okay? It been proved that shit. It been showed you that when you look at some shit, what they call a photon or electron, based upon what's there, if you're looking at it, it will turn into what we would call a particle, or it would stay in this energy wave form. And it knew when it was going to put a camera there, because it knew that you was going to try to watch it, so it'll switch up. It knew what you were going to do. So now that we got the science that shows this shit in real life, that retroactive prayer, okay, these people got prayed for in the future. The future wasn't even here yet, but they got better now. Okay. Now I asked the question, what if slavery happened as a punishment of some sort? Because everything is cause and effect, right? Based off some shit that was going to happen in the future, i.e., looking at you ungrateful ass niggas right now. What if you call slavery, nigga? You can't handle that shit.
No,
I had to say it. What if your ass see, because you gotta remember, you won't fix Flint, Michigan, but you got enough money right now to say everybody give $1, problem solved. Get the contractor say, man, fuck it, I'll fix it. Just give me the minimum pay of what it costs for the materials and mineral labor. Just give me $1, we'll fix it, man. You won't do stuff like that. You won't. You won't take matters in your own hand to build the better reality, the better America that you want to have. You won't do it. Nor will you come and say, yo, I am happy to be in partnership, besides Kanye, in a sense, with the Apples and what we would call, quote unquote, white America, for helping us get to this next point of evolution in our development and timeline of history, because I'm not a slave. So what if our unwillingness to create a better America is the actual causation of slavery? The other thing I was going to say, I'm going to come off of it. Go ahead.
Go. And listen, I've said this before. Einstein and Podolsky both came to the conclusion that the past is just as uncertain as the future. New science has come out as of late that says, now watch this, and I got the links. My quantum imaging members, y'all already know this, that the future affects the past. This is not no spooky talk. This ain't no space cadet talk. This is real deal laboratory science showing how on a quantum level, which is on the level of thought, how the future affects the past. So when my Aquarian brother makes a statement like that, I don't want y'all to be in the state of denial.
Man, we in the Aquarian age. I better
because you got to understand something here. And this is what separates the boys from the men. We deal with the wave, ladies and gentlemen,
Energy.
while everybody else is dealing with the particle.
Material world.
And we know that thoughts,
Cause.
emotion,
Effect.
create reality.
Effect. That's right.
We know this. We trust me. We just, I don't want to say believe me, but we done showed it multiple times. So you have to understand this. And then listen, if you're mad at Make America Great Again, let me tell you who really created that. It's not Donald Trump. It's not that what they are living out are effects. There was a lady by the name of Octavia Butler, a black woman who was a sci-fi writer, who wrote a novel that described what we call Donald Trump today almost eerily to the detail. And in his campaign, in her novel, the president that was running campaign was Make America Great Again.
That Simpson shit.
Okay?
Yeah.
From a sister who was writing a story from a sci-fi perspective, not knowing what, subconsciously, I'm sure she knew, but on a conscious level, maybe not so much. She's in the wine press, as they call it, creating reality. It was another book. What was it called? I wrote about it a couple weeks back. I think it was called The Last President. It came out in the early 1900s. The president's name was Barron Trump. It came out like in 1901, way before Donald Trump's thought of. In the book, you should see the striking similarities between Trump. That president, even he won an election nobody thought he would win. It was total shock to all of the people in America. He had an office in New York on Fifth Avenue. Same place Donald Trump got his office in New York. I mean, it was people trying to figure out, just like the Simpsons shit, you got everybody trying to figure out what the fuck is going on.
The observer effect.
And it gained so much momentum that the people at CNN had to write about it. Like, the Simpsons are our modern day prophets.
That's right. Because that number one show, who has millions upon millions of observers,
viewers, that's right,
watching this thing. So you got to remember, you the culture that's just now in this reality starting to wear the evil eye bracelet known as the Hamza.
That's right.
You're just now getting to the point where, oh, I have a third eye, pineal gland. You're just now getting there in your understanding. So the power of the all-seeing eye on the dollar bill, the Hamza that you're starting to wear like Madonna to keep the evil haters from looking at you and stuff like that. The power is in observation. You can see it in your everyday reality when somebody's looking at you a certain way and you like, what you looking at, nigga? I don't like the way you looking at me, as if you can feel the energy from the look alone, and you can, because it's a vibe. So again, quantum physics understands the power of observation. So when you have millions of people, and sometimes even less than that, that is watching something with a certain emotion, it's just a matter of what we call time until a mirror event will occur. See, this is what I was going to say about thought. See, remember, today we can have a conversation. It don't even matter. All of a sudden, you have this thought. You wasn't thinking about it a second ago, but it's like it fling, the light bulb come on, and it's as if the thought came from somewhere. It did. And then you be thinking about stuff, and you've all had this experience where you're thinking about a person, and all of a sudden y'all text each other at the same time, or you happen to see them, or y'all call each other at the same time, and it becomes this beautiful synchronizing moment of a coincidence. So
Right.
you can send thoughts without a shadow of a doubt, and you receive them too.
That's
Okay.
right.
Without a shadow of a doubt. All right. So thoughts are coming and thoughts are going. Now, when you are collectively thinking about the same thing, you're sending a thought out. Someone who's susceptible enough, a group of people or a person, can receive those particular thoughts and they will act out the shit that you're thinking about. Let me be clear. The shit that you will not fix, Flint, the issue with black and white, things like that. You're constantly reinforcing these and sending and broadcasting these negative thoughts out into ether. You keep doing it. So then what happens is a situation will occur, like in Florida. There was a doctor who had his student. He had a mental student out, right? And the cop pulled up on him. And the cop ended up shooting him in the leg. And the dude wasn't resisting. And he was like, yo, why you shoot me? And the cop said, I don't know. He said, the cop said, I don't know. Because the climate is so thick with reality that literally it's like we call it a walk-in or a possession in a sense. You ever had that feeling where it's like, man, something just took over me, and you get into that zone? You can call it spirit, whatever you want to call it. See, your thoughts do the same thing where they can enter someone else and basically put their ass up under what we call auto-suggestion and shit. And then that person start to act out, and they will create an event to mirror back into your reality to get you to fix the shit, but you never fix the shit. And you just go and complain again.
So
creating the whole scenario over and over and over again.
So let me make sure I got this right, so people understand this. What I'm hearing is this: what you complain about, what you consistently repost over and over and over again, right?
Mm-hmm.
Those people are reinforcing a live circuit that is looking for another outlet so that energy can penetrate and create a moment.
Because you live in a world of cause and effect. Yes.
Right. So what's happening is, since people don't know that thoughts and emotion create the reality around them, what is happening is the events that are happening are only reinforcing what you're already thinking and feeling.
That's right.
So when the next event happens, you repeat the same thing again. But because you don't know that you're creating it, you feel vindicated or validated in your stance because you say, look, it happened again.
I told you.
It happened again.
You're creating it, nigga.
And don't even know it.
And this is why the Holy Quran is very clear on talking about, and they will say, surely I believe in Allah, but they do not believe and they know not. The Quran specifically points out that there is some people who will swear up and down in the last day that they believe in Allah. And they think they do the prayers, they do all that shit, all of it. But they don't even know that they don't believe.
That's right.
They don't even know the shit.
That's right.
Craziest shit in the world. Be cracking me the fuck up on some other shit. Like, oh, these niggas don't know they really atheists, but they think they really believe.
That's right. And to put it in more context so that you guys can understand, you might hear us talk. What you mean? My thoughts can control somebody else? Let me tell y'all something. Shout out to my quantum imaging members. That's why I dropped the meat of my conversation off. I'm going to share a little bit today. Especially when situations are emotionally charged. It was an experiment where they took two people and they put them in two totally different houses and hooked them up to these EEG machines.
Mm-hmm.
And one person in the house, let's just say, one side of town, west side of Chicago, one person hooked up, the other person hooked up south side, South Shore Drive, whatever. The person on the west side of Chicago is looking at a light bulb flicker in the room that they're in while they hooked up to these EEG machines. Do you know the person's brain in the room on the south side of Chicago was kicking out brain waves as if they themselves were looking at the flickering light?
Right.
So make sure you understand what I'm saying. Two people in two totally different locations, in the miles and miles away, their brain waves are picking up on one another, and while one is looking at a light bulb flashing, in real time, he's looking at a light bulb flash, the other person's brain is reacting like they're the one looking at the flashing light bulb. In another case study, they took one person and said, listen, I just want you to imagine that you're touching the other person's hand. The other person in the other room, brain waves went off as if their hand was being touched.
Yeah.
The priesthood gonna kill all that spooky shit that niggas think spooky. See, listen, I live for this, man. My head and nose is down in this material all the time.
Many case studies is documented in the realm of science. In the realm of science all day.
Right? So now we just can't write it off no more, man. See, this is the real thing that you know that is somewhere deep down inside of you that can come online and fix this whole situation. You know it exists. You just don't know how to tap into it. And because of that, you're left to have to deal with the particle side of reality and pick up those tools and try to do the best that you can with them. But I'm going to tell you something. That is an act of futility. You cannot change this reality until you change the coding behind the screen.
That's right.
You can't change it.
All thoughts precede physical action.
That's right. So you can't change it. The moment you try to do it, you're going against the very fabric of nature.
That's right.
So that's what we teach people to do, is how to become coders.
Programming the stars, man. Programming space, man.
You know? And hey, listen. We all right. We're going to be all right.
Bless.
Anybody rocking with us, they're going to be all right too if they focus and they dedicated. You know what I mean? So, man, the beer is getting late, bro.
Yeah. We got to upload this to YouTube, man.
Yeah. I enjoyed the dialogue tonight. Shout out to Kanye West. If you see this, man, get with the priesthood, man.
For sure. Get
with the priesthood. Hip Hop Astrology TV on YouTube. Hit us up, man. Hit us up. Hip Hop Astrology on Twitter. We could take this thing to the next level. Next level.
All day. If you're not on our mailing list, theimaginationguru.com. You want to join the Prime Minister, Minister Jews membership, hit the Quantum Imaging membership. Theimaginationguru.com. You can get at me. I'm on this money tail, man. Theprosperityinvestmentgroup.com. And if you're interested in the star game, myastrologycoach.com. Join the mailing list. We got your free webinar coming up this Saturday, so you want to be on the mailing list so you can get some details, and it's up to you if you want to join some phenomenal money-making activities, man. With that, we'll see you on the next one. Peace.